This is a big week for Disney fans as D23 happens at the end of the week. We share our big guesses and what we hope for. This is episode 84 of Salute to the Ears. Welcome back to another episode of Salute to the Ears. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Erica.
And this is going to be a big week for Disney fans.
Just a little bit.
This is D23 week. If you don't know what D23 is, it's the Comic-Con, the big Comic-Con for Disney fans. It's Disney fan Super Bowl.
Yeah. This is the event that if you are a true Disney fanatic, you want to know all the inside scoop, you want to see all the panels, you want to hear all the information, this is where you want to be.
Right. You have panels of Imagineers, of retired Imagineers, of artists, of movie casts.
Yeah.
The big panel is actually on Saturday night, August 10th at 7 p.m. West Coast time.
Ouch.
Yeah. So 9 o'clock here.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'll already be
10 o'clock
home.
for our East Coast friends.
Ugh. Yeah, that's a late evening.
Yeah. And this is called the Disney Experience Showcase. Disney put out a big poster with it, which I will put here. And but it's called Horizons is what they called it.
Yeah.
And it looks like Mickey directing music, but Mickey's overlooking like a lagoon, and you see all the castles and Spaceship Earth and the Tree of Life and all these different big icons.
The 4 icons, yeah, or 5 icons.
You got icons from all the parks. Someone pointed out pretty much the only thing you don't see is something from Aulani. You see cruise ship stuff, you see park stuff, like.
Yeah, Aulani's kind of its own. It's hard to identify Aulani when you're talking about the icon images.
Yeah. So there's been lots of people kind of breaking it down, trying to get little Easter eggs or something from it. I'm sure news will come out after this panel by Josh D'Amaro, who's in charge of the parks.
Yeah. And if you follow us on Instagram and you follow other Disney accounts, I highly recommend following the D23 Instagram account. They actually have a broadcast channel happening right now as part of this D23 Horizons, and broadcast channels are really fun on Instagram because you get to get information from those creators and participate in questions and polls, and it's a little more interactive, so that's super fun. We've already seen some stuff and some information that they've been asking about, like what's your favorite Disney costume, like
for cosplay,
for cosplay, and like what's your favorite
is Baymax too simple?
I mean, I guess if you can pull Baymax off fully, like the question is, do you just wear white and like with the with like a Baymax hat suits? Or do you get an inflatable suit? Like
No, there'll be tons of fun ones. Like I think they actually have a panel where they bring people who have dressed up there, and people vote on it, and they show off some of the really awesome ones, because there's some of them that are
people go all out. I mean, we've all seen the Comic-Con cosplays, and even the ones that are here at Comic-Con in Kansas City are unbelievable. I mean, I have seen some incredible ones. But yeah, you have people who spend hundreds, thousands of dollars on creating cosplays and to go and participate in these types of events. And it's
awesome. Like
it's very cool.
They do a really good job.
I'm all about the Disney bound. That's about as far as I.
Yeah, no, we haven't
gone as far as I get.
Yeah, we haven't gone deep into anything. So this is a 3-day event. It's going August 9th, 10th, and 11th. The one that we really have circled is Horizons, is the Disney Parks experience.
Yeah.
They're going to talk about stuff from all of the parks during this, okay?
Yeah, they always touch at least on something that's happening, throughout the Disney kingdom. I don't know how else to describe it anymore. Like,
no, it's a huge kingdom. I mean,
everything
it's
the light
all around the
touches.
world.
Yeah.
Now, they'll also talk about the cruise line during this time, which we've been getting a lot on Disney Destiny this last week.
Disney Destiny is the newest cruise ship.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It looks amazing.
It's awesome. Every cruise ship has their own theming, kind of their own thing that they're doing. And this one is heroes versus villains. We're going to talk about that more later.
I'm so excited.
But
like,
this
is
phenomenal.
The first one. Like, I have liked the last two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really have. And I've liked the theming, and I've liked the way that they've been done, and I've been so impressed with them. But this one,
right?
Like,
it looks phenomenal.
It feels like a culmination of so many things. Like, it just, I don't know. It's for me, it's what Happily Ever After is for me. Kind of this, like, that storyline of kind of like, you are the magic, like, you are like in this, like, heroes and villains, and like it's within you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it reminds me of, and I'm super excited to see what they do with some of these pieces.
It looks phenomenal. Pouring into stuff that they usually don't pour into, like Hercules and Brave, and it looks awesome. Even the lounges and the bars, which aren't necessarily our thing because we don't drink a lot. I don't drink at all.
I don't drink at all. Yeah. Hey, I like me a good mocktail though, and most of the Disney places that have that serve alcohol all also serve some sort of mocktail.
Yeah, they got a lounge for Doctor Strange and
Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, it looks so spectacular.
I'm excited to eventually see once it launches and we get to see some of the cast members that are going to. This is going to be top tier casting.
I think so.
I really think this is going to be top tier casting. Yeah. Like, I think
the shows that they're going to have on there are going to be phenomenal. It's going to be like, they're always good anyway, but there's
Oh yeah, I mean, they're Broadway level productions, but this is I feel like the way the theming is for some of even the Cruella de Vil piano bar, you have to have certain kind of musicians and artists who can be able to participate in that and really make it feel right.
Yeah, I agree. The part that we're really excited about is the parks, primarily the domestic parks. So just a little bit. We'll go ahead and start with Disneyland because this is going to be the quick part for us, just because we're not as well versed in Disneyland as we are in Disney World.
No.
But there is stuff that we're expecting and excited for in Disneyland. A couple months ago, they finally passed the stuff that they needed to move on with Disneyland Forward.
Yeah.
What Disneyland Forward is an opportunity for Disney to expand the parks, whether it's a third gate or just adding to DCA in Disneyland. But there's enough land, they've said, to basically add another Disneyland.
Which just seems insane to me. And I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I fully understand that Disneyland, you can fit all of Disneyland inside the parking lot for Magic Kingdom. Like, I get it.
Right.
Like, it really isn't as big as what we think it is.
Right.
But
there's so much packed in there.
And I just think about driving around, towards the perimeter of Disneyland and DCA.
Right.
And staying right off of there. And the way that it's packed, and you even look at the map and you look at the aerial view of it, and I'm like, where are you going to go?
They got it all figured out. So
it'll be really interesting. I'm really hoping to get some more information about what that's going to look like, how that's going to proceed, and hopefully a rough timeline. They're really not good about giving us like, oh, it's going to open in what, like, no, we're not going to hear anything like that. But hearing like hey, we would like construction to start in 2025 or 2026.
And open in summer of 27.
Right. Like, I think
that's about as close as we're going to get.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have seen that you've talked about going in there is something from Avatar.
Yeah.
They said it's going to be different than what's at Disney World and Animal Kingdom. But I'm excited to see what it is.
Yeah.
I don't want another version of Flight of Passage.
I don't want another version of Flight of Passage, but I'm very curious of what do you do to make
my guess, which there's gonna be a lot of those in here, is guesses. It's going to pour more into the second movie and water.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be my guess. But who knows? The one thing I don't want from either one of these parks, I don't want a bunch of blue sky theory.
I'm a little nervous that we're going to get, especially for this, I think we're going to get some blue sky.
I think we will too.
And because I don't know that there's enough, my guess is there's not enough pieces yet in place for them to give us more concrete information. And so if we get blue sky, then, they can come back and be like, oh, that was what we were hoping to do, not what we said we were going to do. We'll see what happens with that. But I really don't want to see blue sky this time with Disney World.
I know. That's exactly where I was going to go.
I do, I like that there are aspects of both parks, like that there are things like Galaxy's Edge in both places. And, you've got so many repeat things of like Fantasyland and Tomorrowland. I mean, you've got rides and things that are either the same or very similar. They're very close in, how they're laid out. But I really do enjoy the fact that there are so many differences. I don't want just two identical parks. I don't just want an East Coast and a West Coast. And I don't want there to just be like, oh, well, Disney World has it, we need to have it. Or Disneyland has it, so we have to have it.
Right. I agree.
I like having the difference of you can only do this in Disneyland or DCA. You can only do this in Walt Disney World. Like, I think it adds value.
It does. And I think you can even have where things are similar, like how they both have a Haunted Mansion, and they're similar, but they're still
still quite a few differences.
Right.
Especially this time of year.
Yeah. Well, I think some of the things we're going to get in Disneyland, other than Disneyland Forward, is an opening for Tiana's. Hopefully. And hopefully they worked out all the bugs, because Disney World is struggling right now, like hardcore, with animatronics not working, and just it's not doing well. But I think we're probably going to get a date for that.
Yeah.
And then what was the other thing? There was something else like, oh, we're going to find out about that. I don't remember. Maybe I'll come back to me.
Pop into your head way later. Yeah. I'm excited to see what comes out of it, but I do, other than like Tiana's, other than some small information, I just don't think we're going to get. I think it's going to be pretty vague. I think it's going to be pretty generic and pretty vague and pretty blue sky big. Like, it's just not going to be concrete yet.
I think there's going to be something there. I'm going to say this. Last D23 was a lot of blue sky. And I think it was a lot of blue sky because they were still recovering from Evil Bob.
Yeah.
And trying to fix some things. I think now they've had a chance to fix some things. I'm expecting wow moments from both parks.
Okay.
I think there's going to be something from each park that's going to leave us going, whoa.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool. Or I wasn't expecting that.
Well, I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too.
But I think I'm right.
I'm optimistic.
I guess we're going to see who's right in this. We'll let you know next week. The thing that I think has happened is we got so much blue sky last D23 for Disney World.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going to have more of your wow moments, more of your concrete information. Right. And I think we've had little Easter eggs, little drops, little hints of things, of information of things that are coming and what they're doing enough that I think this is going to be and this is where we're going. And part of that, I believe, is because of the things that Universal's doing.
Somewhat.
The way that things are happening in other parks and in other entities, I think they're trying to play catch up right now, and they need to keep people
somewhat. I think they're trying to play catch up, but at the same time, if people are coming down for Epic Universe, a lot of families are going to be like, well, let's go over to Disney as well. a lot of people go down to Disney and they end up going to visit Universal as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're still going to get people coming over, but I do think that there is going to be something that's going to try and compete with that. Well, we kind of switched over to Disney World. Let's go ahead and start in Magic Kingdom, because there's been stuff there that was blue skied last time, and everyone is like 99% sure we're going to hear about and get like good details.
Yeah.
And that's beyond Big Thunder Mountain.
It's one of those things that I feel like I've been waiting for that to happen my whole life.
Right.
Like,
yeah. That's the spot where there's space. Like,
yeah.
There's some other areas that have some space, and people are speculating they expect something to go in there. I'm not for sure, but Big Thunder, I'd be shocked, like floored, if we don't get some more concrete details about this. There's been patents filed. People have seen them back there clearing, doing work. Mm-hmm. Like, it's time to come up with the details.
And I do think that there is also an aspect of, there is a need for clearing that out from conservation aspect too, and a like kind of a health perspective, you know, like I think there's a necessity to go in there no matter what,
right,
and do work back in there and change some things and update, just because you've got a lot of growth. You've got you've got so much waterway back there in the train. And I think you're going to see some people in an uproar though if we lose the train again.
If they're doing Big Thunder behind Big Thunder, the train's going to be down for a while because they're going to have to reroute.
Like, I'm sitting here going, great. I need you to go like build an out and around or something. Like you've got to build a bypass then. And while you're working on that, you got to find some way to bypass that, or find a way to build like a turnaround or something, so that it goes like you go down one way and you turn around, you come back the other way, or something. Like, find a way to make it that it's not a loop, that it's like the streetcar here in Kansas City does this. Mm-hmm. It's a loop technically, but it stays within like the same line. And so it goes down one side of the street, and then it has a way to turn around in a very tight space, and then it goes up.
Right.
You know, I would love to see, you know, the train do something where it doesn't shut down in order to build this, because it was down forever for Tron.
Right.
And I don't want to lose that again. It does eat people. It is a crowd eater.
Right. It is. So last D23, when they were talking about this, what they threw out there as this is what they were imagining was walking down into like a land of Coco, and then Encanto, and then a villain's land.
Yeah.
And which then curved over into like Haunted Mansion. I don't think that's what we're getting. I think we're going to get maybe one of the three. And the reason being, both Encanto and Coco have shown up somewhere else, which we'll talk about. So I don't think if they're going to do two new things down at Walt Disney World, I don't think that both those places are going to have Encanto and Coco.
Not as like a land. And I'm really interested to see what happens with this as far as the way that IP is in Magic Kingdom. You have it on individual rides. Yeah. You have IP on individual things. You don't have IP that holds a land, that anchors a land the way that you do, say, in like DCA or Hollywood Studios or, you know, some of these other places. Magic Kingdom and Disneyland both have this aspect of Disneyland minus Galaxy's Edge. You have Adventureland, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so you have Adventureland and Magic Kingdom. Well, yeah, you've got some IP in there with like the magic carpets of Aladdin and like, you know, you've got pirates and like you've got IP. It's not that it doesn't exist within it. It's just that the IP itself is not the anchor of the land.
Right.
Right. And so you've got the same thing of like Fantasyland. You've got Peter Pan and Dumbo, and you've got this IP that lives and exists within it, but not one of them anchors that as just it being its only IP. Yeah. And I'm very curious to see how they're going to add what would you call another land that would fit in line with what you see as far as like, hey, you've got Tomorrowland, Adventureland, Frontierland, Fantasyland. Like, what is your other...
Right. How's it going to fit in?
What's your other land?
Not only does it need to fit in as a land, but it needs to fit in, like, it needs to be appealing to what we're looking at.
It needs to be appealing to what we're looking at.
It can't be a harsh transition all the time.
And especially from essentially the 2 points that we're talking about connecting. If you look down, get in your map, okay? Come with me, friends. Get in your map. And if you are standing essentially in Frontierland, and you are looking out towards Tom Sawyer Island, you're looking out towards, like, you're facing away from Country Bears. Okay. This is where we're at. Facing away from Country Bears. You're kind of looking out over the water. Haunted Mansion is to your right. Big Thunder Mountain is to your left.
Right.
Both of those are end points.
Right.
Right. They kind of curve out. You look at the map, it kind of curves out and around, and those are end points.
Right.
What we're talking about is potentially something that joins those together.
Right.
And so if we're talking about that, then that means either that singular land back there has to somehow
blended together,
float between those two and be something that makes sense back in there that is currently very heavily wooded, very wet. Like,
yeah, that's pretty much everything.
That pretty much is everything down there. But currently, that's where that stands, and you would be doing a lot to change that.
Right. I think they're going to have something that's desert or desert-ish to blend in with Big Thunder, right? And then having something that's probably more wooded to blend in with Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
So then it's do you bridge those two together? And that's what I'm interested to see. It's
villain.
We're probably going to have villains there. That would make sense close to Haunted Mansion. Like, it would make a lot of sense through there. But how we're going to blend it, the other part together, whether that's Radiator Springs Racers, because the rock structure and Big Thunders are a lot alike.
That would flow really well.
That would flow really well. But then how do you bring those two together?
Yeah.
That's what I don't know.
I'd really love to see more information there, because they way blue skied it when they talked about it this last time. I mean, it was like huge, like, oh, here's all, like, we could do this and we could do that and we could do this.
Right.
Like, it was way wide scale.
Right.
Now they blue skied a little bit. I want to switch to another part, because that's the that's the main information I think we're going to see out of there. The only other thing I think we'll see out of Magic Kingdom is maybe some information about Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how much information we're going to get there yet.
Maybe Tomorrowland. Maybe keep an eye on Adventureland as well. I'm saying this because I think Moana is going to pop up somewhere.
So how do you...
Yeah. And she was originally blue skied over in where I think you're probably going to go next, over in Animal Kingdom.
So Animal Kingdom is where I was headed. And I brought this up because I brought up the Coco and Kanto thing. Coco and Encanto were brought up as this blue sky option. It was one of 2 or 3 options that were brought up last time at D23 for the area that is currently Dinoland USA at Animal Kingdom.
Well, at D23, it was Moana. They've switched it up now.
This was also presented as a blue sky option. And it has been not confirmed, but confirmed.
Right.
That Dinoland USA is going, or it's been confirmed. It's going to be
called Tropics of America.
Tropics of America. This is going to celebrate this southern part of North America into Central America into South America. Like, so I think this is where you're really going to see, Up is going to kind of live over there, at least some. Like, you're going to have that. You're going to have those characters are going to end up having kind of a home base over there. Maybe. Kevin's going to have kind of a home base over there, I think. You're going to see Encanto. And you're definitely going to see Louise's, what's the little boy's name in Encanto? Why can't I think of his name? I can see him. He's like the cutest little kid that ever lived.
He talks to animals.
He talks to animals. You're going to see his tree.
Right.
I think you're going to see the house.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see, like, I think you're going to see a lot in terms of like the conservation in like you're going to see the conservation effort
right
happen within that and with preserving the tropics
right.
and the rainforest and like that. I think that's where you're going to see kind of that information.
Mm-hmm.
And then we know that's happening. There's talk that a dinosaur may turn into Indiana Jones.
Right.
Same ride system.
It sounds like it's going to be different than the ride in Disneyland, though.
Right.
It sounds like it's going to be more like him exploring like a Mayan temple.
Yeah.
And then you're also going to have Coco.
Yeah.
Over there.
Which makes sense, though. I mean, because you really are essentially going from Mexico down into South America, and that makes sense to me that
right.
you would incorporate all of those things. And so you've got the fact you're supposed to have traveled to
mm-hmm.
South America, and you were supposed to
right.
Like, I think you're just going to get some anchor points for
mm-hmm.
a lot of these things, and I think we're really going to see that conservation effort stuff happen over there more again,
right?
Which is really that is the base of Animal Kingdom, and then so I think you're going to see those over there.
Mm-hmm.
I am also curious. Like, we have Moana in Epcot now.
Yeah,
you've got an anchor for Moana in Epcot. I'm curious. Do you think we will see something for her in Magic Kingdom, or do you think we'll see something for her in Animal Kingdom?
Originally, she was blue skied in Animal Kingdom.
Right.
But I'm kind of keeping an eye on Adventureland.
Yeah.
In Magic Kingdom. And see what they got going on there. What I would like a Moana water ride, but more like, if you haven't ever seen Pirates of the Caribbean in Shanghai, like its ride system is phenomenal. If they can figure out how to incorporate some of that with Moana, I think it would be awesome. Yeah. I think it'd blow people away.
Get attacked by the
what are they, Kookaburra?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
The little guys in the coconuts.
They've poured too much into Moana to not pour into her more in the parks rather than the Journey of Water.
And time out from the parks.
Yeah.
Let's very briefly talk about the fact that the other thing that we will get out of D23 is some movie information.
Mm-hmm.
And I am excited to see more for Moana 2.
Right.
That's coming out. More excited to hear more about maybe the live action.
Yeah.
Like, there are things coming in the next couple of years that I'm really excited about, and I want to hear more about. Yeah. And Moana is one of them.
Yeah, I am too. I'm afraid because Moana was originally made to be a series on Disney Plus.
Right.
And now it's a movie. I'm really hoping when we watch it that it doesn't feel like we're just watching a series, and it's just kind of, you can tell which episode you were in,
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, we'll get all kinds of different news. I mean, Marvel was dropping all kinds of news at Comic-Con, like Robert Downey Jr. coming back, but this time as a bad guy.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
And I'm not okay with it. Okay. That is for another episode, but anyway, so back to the parks. Get in your map, people.
Yeah.
So we know we're going to hear probably going to hear more information about Tropics of America, and some more information, hopefully dates there.
Yeah.
And then
note, this in Behind Big Thunder cannot be blue sky at this point. We're 2 years out of them teasing us. Like, we need details at this point.
Yeah. I think we need what we kind of got a couple months ago about Tropics of America, at least it has something coming. This is concrete. This is happening. And even if we don't have a full vision,
I think we need to have hey, we're starting this time and hope to be done this time. Like with these, I think it's time.
It's tricky. It's so tricky. And especially the part that you're talking about them building out is so wet. Like, that is so deep.
It is.
that's going to be tricky to get right. And I think that was their problem.
Animal Kingdom is not going to be tricky.
Animal Kingdom's going to be easy.
Right.
Animal Kingdom's going to be fast. I expect dates there. I expect that to be a open and shut kind of case there.
All right.
Now, I don't think we're going to see or hear a whole lot about the other two parks.
Epcot. Let's go to Epcot first. I think if we get news from Epcot, it's going to be something about Figment, because that ride is no bueno at this point. Been no bueno for a long time. And
it just doesn't make sense
haven't
anymore.
been putting money into it. Like, even whenever you get off the ride, like, it needs help.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe some of the other stuff we'll hear is stuff that we heard last D23 or two of them ago, whenever they first announced redoing Epcot, that has kind of gotten scratched, whether that's reimagining Spaceship Earth, like updating it. Maybe Mary Poppins shows up and I'll make your dad happy.
That would make Dad very happy.
But other than
that, would be out in World Showcase though. That was something that got scrapped after COVID. Yeah. Showing up over in the UK pavilion in case.
There's all kinds of speculation that they're gonna add a country or two. I don't know that they are, but I guess nothing would shock me.
I don't know where you really add another country. I don't know either. I would love to see Morocco come back, or even if it's not Morocco, but it's another similar I don't know. Like, I love that area. I hate seeing it so empty.
It is. Yeah, it's a beautiful area. Other than that, I don't know that we're going to hear a lot. Mm-mm. Over in Hollywood Studios, I think there might be a possibility to hear some more.
See, this is where I think we're going to hear Blue Sky. Yeah. I think Hollywood Studios is where we're going to hear Blue Sky. I don't know that we're going to get a lot of concrete information about, unless they've got a definitive plan of what they're going to do with that area that is like over by Disney Junior.
Launch Bay area.
Yeah, the Launch Bay area and all that. Unless they've got something definitive that they're planning to do with that's going to be a quickish turnover and not really going to change the layout of it very much.
Right.
I don't anticipate hearing anything but Blue Sky over there.
Here's why I'm saying we might hear something. That park just keeps getting busier and busier and busier. Ever since Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land opened, like, it eats a lot of people. And there's only so many things for people to do there.
And you do have several things that eat large crowds at a time, like Indiana Jones, Beauty and the Beast live on stage, Frozen. Right. Like, you're talking about the hundreds to couple thousand people, at a time.
Yeah.
Every hour, pretty much throughout the day.
And another thing I think we might hear here, or Animal Kingdom, is a new nighttime show.
That would be really nice. I would like to see it at Animal Kingdom, but I would be okay with a different one at Hollywood too.
Yeah. It's time for Animal Kingdom to be staying open past 6 in August. It's been closing at 6. It's like, it doesn't get dark for another 3 hours.
I'm really interested to see how they do that, because a big part of it has always been trying to regulate with the animals that are out and allowing them time to rest and it not being, open late. But I kind of go, well, they're all still, when it's still light out at 9, almost 10 o'clock at night, in June, they still up.
Right. My wild guess for Hollywood Studios is for them to connect the Launch Bay area and Toy Story Land and make it like a big Pixar area.
That would be fantastic. It would also help eliminate some of the congestion that happens when you're trying to get back towards Toy Story and you go down by like ABC Commissary and kind of off to the right of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and the Chinese Theater. That pathway, that gets crowded.
Yeah.
And that would be nice to have another entry point. It'd be interesting to see how they lay that out though, because there's not really another good. I always thought that they were going to reconnect it there where Pixar, where now you meet a bunch of the Pixar characters.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They could, I guess, maybe try and figure out something like that whole area. Like, they can't get rid of One Man's Dream.
No.
It's, if they're going to use that area, that has to be moved somewhere else. Whether that gets moved into Magic Kingdom or it stays in Hollywood Studios, but you can't get rid of that.
I think it needs to stay in Hollywood Studios, but I do agree that it needs a different location.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that needs to be closer up front to, like, somewhere along Sunset Boulevard or something. Yeah. Like, it needs to be, the location of it isn't great, but it needs to stay.
Right. I know a lot of people are hoping for like an expanded Galaxy's Edge, which I guess is a possibility because their Galaxy's Edge does way better than Disneyland. So, like,
yeah,
it does, which is weird because like almost the exact same thing.
But they're very similar.
Yeah.
But the thing that I am really hoping for with Hollywood Studios is I don't want to see them. I don't know. I don't want to see them. I can't say this because we're going to get dinged on the YouTubes. I don't want them to see them half butt it. Like, fill in the blank, people.
Right.
Half it. Because that's my fear, that in that launch bay area, that it's going to be like a quick fix and it's going to be like let's just patch it kind of thing. And I don't want to see that happen.
My hope is, since they brought back, who's the head Imagineer?
Oh, yeah.
Since they brought him back, I'm hoping that the halfway doing it is kind of out the window.
Yeah.
Like, we get better than what we got with Epcot, where a lot of that stuff's not working anymore, like the lights in the sidewalk or whatever. I hope we get better than that. They need to do better.
I'm like, is that a construction and a contractor issue? Is that an engineering issue?
I don't know.
Is that
they got to fix it though. Okay. Do you have like a big, like, I want this to happen and you can't steal mine? You know mine. Like, I doubt this is going to happen, but if this happens, that would be awesome.
I don't remember what yours is. I think I do, but my brain is mush, y'all. I already made a reel tonight for y'all, and I'm like, it was a long day at work. My brain is mushy.
Okay.
I am all in for villains. Yeah. I am all in for villains kind of getting to have their part, not their park. Like, I don't, I actually don't want to see a fifth gate right now.
Get out of here.
I don't think we're ready for a fifth gate. I think we're still I think there's still things that need to be done before we can talk about a fifth gate.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about fifth gate. I just fast forward. Because
fine. Is that yours?
That is mine. Mine is a fifth gate. And this is what they have in mind to shock everybody and get everybody talking and be like, oh, so this is how they're going to compete with Epic Universe. And I think we were getting a tease with Disney Destiny, because it's weird how much that they were really pouring into this. Sellings don't even start until November of 25. But I want a fifth gate that is dedicated to heroes and villains. Okay,
but how do you do heroes and villains when you already have that storyline that exists in your Happily Ever After nighttime shows, in your Fantasmic?
It's throughout Disney. That's what Disney has made their money off of, is heroes and villains.
Okay, but I'm saying, how do you incorporate that, but without taking away from what already exists? Without having to kind of steal from what already is there? How do you make that happen as its own fifth gate versus...
Right. Like, there are so many heroes that have not been poured into in the parks, whether it's Hercules and Hercules and Hades, or Merida, or you could have
and Mordo.
Yeah, you could have
but Merida's villain is really herself. Let's be real.
It is. You could have Rapunzel. You could have
Oh my God, babe, can I be Mother Gothel? That would be...
you could go back, you could do something from Atlantis or Tarzan. You know, like all these heroes have villains that they're going against.
Yeah.
And
Jackson can grow his hair out and he can be a Tarzan cast member.
He needs to add some upper body weight.
He's gonna kick your butt.
He ain't gonna watch this. But there are so many different ways you could go about this. And one of the things, because I've been thinking about this ever since we recorded this the first time.
Yeah, by the way, this is take 2. This is not the first time we recorded this, because the first time we recorded it, our mics quit 6 minutes in and we didn't know it.
Yeah. But you can also add 2 hotels to this. Okay? Pick your hotel that's based on heroes and villains as well.
Okay, now time out.
That's connected to the gates.
Time out. We just did a themed hotel that was attached to the park, that was attached to a gate, and was an experience hotel, and it flopped.
Well, that was a complete experience hotel, right?
I know, but
just a themed art of animation. Like all the hotels were supposed to be themed, and ours themed to a point. But having it attached as a hero or a villain one, I'm telling you, would crush. Not like you're going in there and you're like, oh, I'm being locked in this hotel for 3 days.
Do you have to worry about if you add villains, a villain section in some way to Magic Kingdom,
right?
And it's just a land,
right?
It's just a piece of the puzzle. It's not its own thing. Okay. If it's just a land, it's not its own 5th gate. It's not its own thing. I'm not as worried about this. It's still a concern of mine, but I'm not as worried. Okay. As a 5th gate, the villains aspect, are you worried about the violence aspect and people going too dark, too evil?
I think it depends on how you
nasty,
do it.
too, like, does it become a security issue?
No, I don't. I think it depends on how you like present it. Like, it's never going to go as dark as Halloween Horror Nights or anything like that.
Right.
Like, it's never going to go that route.
But that's my question, right. Is that going to be the expectation from people of, oh, now there's going to be an area that's going to have this, like, now there's going to, do you know what I mean?
It's like over Epic Universe, like they have classic monsters and like,
right.
There's plenty of stuff over there too. And like classic monsters is not going to go nearly as dark as Halloween Horror Nights.
But like, here's my thing. Like, I don't like the gore and the horror side of like Halloween. I've never really been into that. It's never been my jam. I'm definitely a boo to you, like Mickey's Not So Scary type Halloween girl. But when I think about like, I would not, like, my personal thing is like, I don't think I would feel safe at Halloween Horror Nights. And I know there's going to be people who are like, oh my gosh, I love it. Like, it's not bad. It's not actually that bad. Like, for me, I would feel unsafe. And so I'm a little concerned about the aspect of like, if you were to see a villain's 5th gate versus a land or versus just a like experience aspect within another park that already exists, how do you get people to not go to the place of like, oh, this is Disney's answer to Universal's Horror Nights type atmosphere? Like,
it depends because of the characters that you're presenting. There's
some dark villains in Disney
but
history.
They don't go gory and they don't do it the same way. It's different. If you really want to go big and dream big, which I'm going to do here, I'm going to dream that they got the Marvel rights away from Universal in Florida, and you can start adding some Marvel stuff in there.
That to me is your 5th gate.
I don't think you can do all Marvel. And the reason why I say you can't do all Marvel is going to be tough to keep up. In 25 years from now, and people see Iron Man, are they going to be into it?
Yeah. Well, but you could say the same thing about some of the IP. Like when we go see Peter Pan, are people still into it? That ride has a 45-minute wait consistently, at least. That's the minimum.
Yeah. Well, we would love to hear your ideas of what you think might come D23 or some of the news we might hear, you can hit us up on X. I got it right that time. Instagram and Threads. All of them are at Salute to the Ears. With that, I'm going to say go out and find your joy.
And have a magical week.